就未来的下雨。Today's the day I shine, so I dream of someone who can fly. For a moment I could touch the sky, lifted from these feelings I can fly. When I forget comes around to drag me down, I reach for my pencil and turn it around. A legend fools bequeath. Who fears the dragon's scale? But soon war's pounding beat awakens the legend from sleep. The terror will soon meet. Hunger drives it from the deep. Humanity's evils repay as fangs and claw rend, and all grow dismayed when the serpent descends to swim to our run. Too terrible to behold. His dark shadow blackens the sun, rendering all earth cold. Its fiery wrath, bringing swift ends to all in its path, and the
Whoop. I gotta fix that. I really gotta fix that. It cuts out the music just as soon as I basically turn to the real scene. So, sorry about that. I know it's rather abrupt. But here we are. It is 6 o'clock. 6:33, actually. Man, I need to check myself. It is 6:33.
And an eventful day.
And we will go ahead and actually jump in and get started. And since you voted for Castle in the Forest, that is indeed what we will be working on this evening. If we finish it, we'll switch back over to our Dragon Cave. But, you know, I always like to give people an opportunity and an option as to what we're doing. Because, hey, I try to make things fun that way. Alright. Yeah. As Randy says, I have no idea what I'm doing. Sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes I feel like I have absolutely no freaking clue. Please, somebody, can I have a clue? No. I go to the clue store and they're all out. Every time I try to buy a clue, they're sold out. I think it's personal at this point. I think I want to, like, basically put the forest further away from the castle. So I'm going to play around with the trees and moving them in back a little bit. I want to give the castle more breathing room, if you will. Oh, you're funny, Randy. You're funny. I have a comedian in here. He's fixing his guitar rack, his brand new guitar rack. I'm not sure.
Huh? Not sure what.
Nothing. Every guy needs a rack.
Yes, I'm currently fixing a rack.
I wish you could fix a rack.
All of a rack.
Yes, that is an Ubi you are hearing in the background. My personal comedian. No, discount. Temu comedian. Sorry. That was mean of me. I'm sorry.
What?
Lord, forgive me. I was mean. Oh, Lord, take away my... Ugh, yes. No. I'm actually really and honestly and truthfully very blessed with the husband that I have. He is certainly,
Trying.
oh, well, he's very trying sometimes. No, just kidding. As God has so often pointed out to me, and quite fairly so, my husband is the exact right person for me. He is definitely a balance to my insanity, and believe me, it's a full-time job balancing that. We're just moving the trees around to kind of give the castle more room. Which, that is the nice thing about digital art is that things can be moved around on the canvas. Things can be, you can decide they're not tall enough, or they're not wide enough, or that they're too wide and too tall. And you can move them, which is what I'm doing. Oh, you're funny. Don't be so silly. I told you, not so silly. I guess it's better than being serious. Very serious. We should take ourselves less seriously, perhaps. Perhaps the world would be better off if we all took ourselves a little less seriously.
The phone's ringing.
Yeah, exactly.
Man goes with trouble.
And what's gonna work? Teamwork. Yeah, that's what makes the dream work, baby.
You know what's gonna work? Not having stupid chick on the team.
Well, there's always got to be that one. Is that a baby Peking duck? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? That's rude. So rude. Let's make this castle wider. Give it a little more depth of coverage. Sometimes in art, you spend a lot of time just playing around with the elements on the screen, trying to make them look the way you want them to. You don't even necessarily do any drawing, you're just sitting here playing around with where things are on the canvas. what needs to stay, what needs to go, to make it look the way you want. And I wonder if we couldn't. Because I'm thinking we should have maybe an archway of tree branches, and that's not the effect I'm getting right now. So, boop. I am going to pull you up. Way up. Stretch it to the sky. Reach for the sky, buddy. Mm-hmm. Things about to get real in here. Good question. You're working on thumbnails. You find yourself taking them more seriously after watching you work with visuals? Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I can inspire you to do that, because truthfully is, wow, my speaking is gooder tonight. Yeah, I'm proud of myself, you know. I took that class for gooder English, and look at how it's helped. Oh, gracious me. Welcome to Brandy School for Gooder English. I hope y'all buckle up. It's going to be a rough ride around here. Mm-hmm. Now, what you got to do here? Diversify your income, yes. What y'all want to do? Y'all want to sit over here? Y'all want to get over here? Y'all want to pay attention over here? We're going to actually warp this a bit, just because I want to change the way it's sitting on the canvas. That is the nice thing about Photoshop. Is you can sort of manipulate things in a different way, but it helps. Just mini guitar. My mini guitar. Mr. Rob, yes.
Rob.
Live in the foothills of western North Carolina, so that sounds fairly normal to my eyes. Yes. Yeah, I grew up in a very mixed environment where we have people from all over the place, but there is still a heavy drawl to it. Yeah, I guess it's more to the point that there's a heavy mix of the South sitting in there in the middle of Texas. So you do get that. You do get to hear it a lot, and so it's something I'm pretty good at imitating. I'm not saying I necessarily should, but I do.
I like
Oopsie. Don't take that. Don't mess with that. You need that. Leave that alone. Don't y'all come around here now. Oh, yes, Mr. Borail. Yes, we did have a history teacher. Literally. That was his accent. He was from Louisiana. Don't lean on the leans, baby. Don't. Louisiana. So, yes, Mr. Borail. And he made his fortune basically researching genealogy and then suing the tar out of anyone who got their title in an improper manner. So if they had property that had been in his family at some point, and he could find a way to get the title, prove the title had been gotten by illegitimate gain or by illegitimate means, he would go after them and sue the fire out of them. That was his secondary income. He was a smart man. I'm not gonna deny that, but I'm not sure that I'd want to make my money that way. But then again,
might not be safe.
I'm also not going to criticize too much for somebody who did. Yeah, well, yeah, you might run into one of them corrupt judges. Absolutely, you might. Like, the ones that were running my father's estate. Ugh,
We ain't afraid of talking about him. Afraid of my greatness.
that's true. I'll tell you. True story. So in 2009, in March, God told me I needed to reach out to my father and try to get a hold of him because things were not going well. Well, I'm not always the sharpest tool in the shed, and I'm not always the fastest at going ahead and responding to what God tells me. And I felt a little awkward about it, so I put a delay on it. Didn't do it right away. And by the time I did, it was too late. My dad, they called me, and my stepmother had been sitting in that house with my father for who knows how long. Long enough that he had skin slippage when they took him out of the house. So that can tell you something about it. And the judge of that county happened to be the son of my dad's lawyer. And my dad's lawyer had been trying to get my dad's property away from him for who knows how long. But my dad was the kind of guy that trusted people on a handshake, and he wasn't about to ruffle any feathers on that account. So he never did anything about the situation. And basically, Billy Joe Gilmore, the lawyer in question, if ever there was a southern name, that Billy Joe Gilmore would be it. The lawyer decided to help himself to my dad's property. Told me that there was a will, but it was all left to my dad's wife, the one who murdered him. And that if anybody contested the will, then he would go ahead and probate it. Now, the state, I did not know the laws of Mississippi, so I didn't contest or argue because what was I going to do? The lawyer was going to win. His son was the judge of the county. How was I going to fight? Because I sure didn't have any money. But what I didn't know is that Mississippi law would have helped me. Because, see, in Mississippi, if you don't probate the will, the estate automatically goes to the widow and their surviving children. And it's supposed to be split evenly between those entities. Well, none of that was done. So basically, my dad's lawyer stole the property right out from underneath us. But it's okay, because he only got to enjoy it for 6 months. And then he was in a grave right next to my dad. So, people who prioritize worldly goods above other people should be careful about that kind of thing. Sometimes it don't work out too well. Sure didn't for Mr. Billy Joe Gilmore. I do hope he enjoyed his time with that. Hope it was worth his soul. And truthfully, honestly, in all seriousness, I hope he turned to Jesus in his final moments and made peace with the Lord so that he does not add to the denizens of heaven, or to denizens of hell, because God knows they don't need more help. They got all the foot soldiers they need. People clamoring to add their name to that list, which is sad. I'd rather have more souls for Team Jesus, personally. But that's just me. So anyway, that's the fun story about dealing with lawyers. I have no special fondness for them. Yeah, you were born in Southwest. Well, it's matter of fact, so was my dad. My dad was born in New Orleans, but he was raised in Gulfport, Mississippi. And Pascagoula, actually. Gulfport was nearby, but he was raised in Pascagoula. And when he was dying, he lived in Lexington, Mississippi at the time of his death. And like I said, that little town, I did not know its history. Oh, well, we're just adjusting heights and little things here and there to make it look better before I go into full detail mode. But thank you, Malachi. I appreciate that. Because I wanted to give more space for the castle to show up, because it was looking pretty lost among the trees there. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it wasn't the vibe I wanted to go for. So we're just moving trees around to create the ambient effect that I desired. So anyway, yeah, so Dad died in Lexington, Mississippi. That lawyer, God bless his heart. He died just 6 months after he stole my dad's property. So he didn't get much use of it. I'm sure his son has it now, and may the Lord bless that soul too. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now we've got the more of these squishy little trees over here. Place some of those. Give it some distance. Just try to make it look more foresty overall. Yeah. So, you know, as scripture said, the unjust don't prosper. But in worldly terms, it sure can seem like they are for the moment. Okay, so there we go. We've got things laid down. Kingdom of God outlasted the empires of the ages by outliving. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely true. And you know, the sad thing is that people underestimate the power of love. If we would just focus on loving one another, we could accomplish so much more than we do. But it requires greater sacrifice to love one another. And that sacrifice part is the thing that we human beings tend to balk at. We like love when it's easy. We like love when it's fun. We like love when it doesn't cost us anything. But that's not real love. Real love always costs.
Almost done.
Woohoo! Yes, the Ubi is back there putting in his rack.
Yes, and playing with my back.
He bought himself a guitar rack, seeing as he now has more guitars than he knows what to do with. And gotta have something to do with them. Gotta keep them safe.
Getting out of hand.
It is getting out of hand. The guitar collection is overtaking our whole apartment. But not for long. Whoop. No, that wasn't what I wanted. What are you? Yeah, that's what I wanted. There we go. Doop. Delete. Control D. Now, still strengthening your right shoulder and lower back. How's that going, Malachi? You feeling better? I hope. Mere child's tale. A myth with no teeth. Here's a dragon's tail. But soon was pounding beat. Wakens the dragon from sleep. Alright. Oh, I need to make my layer over the castle because that's what we're doing. Good grief. How could I forget? Okay. And you kind of wanted it a crumbly castle, the kind that's been maybe wrecked just a little bit. Karen, you decided on your first non-date that you wouldn't stay together unless we added to each other's lives. We've both been doing well independently. Add to has become a big praise for us. Well, that's absolutely true. I think that you really should be looking for somebody where you add to each other's lives. Now, me, one of the things I was looking for when I was in the stage of looking for a spouse was I wanted somebody who would not let me run over the top of them, because I knew myself well enough to know But that was a very real and valid possibility for me. I have a very strong personality, and if I didn't have a man who was equally strong and able to stand up against that personality, I knew I would end up running the show, and I did not want that. I wanted somebody who was my equal, not my doormat, and I knew I would also have trouble respecting a man who wouldn't stand up to me. So that was one of Randy's tests. When we were dating, he didn't know he was being tested, but he was being tested to see if he could stand up for himself. And also tap the brakes on things when he didn't want to do things. And yes, that caused friction sometimes, but it was also something I wanted to make sure that I had in place.
Didn't know I was being tested. Hell, I didn't know I was being dated.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You had to bond me with it.
Well, that's true, just about. Lack of respect is a huge thing, yeah. You still have a burning spot in your right mid to lower back, but otherwise it's doing pretty darn good. Well, that's awesome. Not too much longer, and you should be able to get back to beating up on those drums.
Get it done.
Nice! You have a rack. Congratulations. You have been racked.
I have not. But I appreciate the parts.
You have been equipped with a rack. Therefore, you have been racked. Yes. You have been equipped with a rack. Therefore, you have been racked. He is arguing with me. You notice this? He is arguing with me. This is okay. It's what we paid for. We bought this in advance. We knew what we were getting. He might not have known what he was getting in advance. I was something of a mystery to him. But then again, to be fair, women are always a mystery. Even unto themselves. Don't forget to riff on the like button if you haven't already. Oh yeah, that's absolutely. Ah. I do like art. I don't know if you could tell or not. It's just a little bit of something. Don't feel bad. I'd forget to like my own stuff if somebody didn't remind me.
There it is.
Yay! It's a big old guitar rack. Now we gotta rearrange the room to find space for it.
Whole 10.
Nice!
Separately with whole. Exactly right.
He does. He does have to rearrange the whole room. But it's okay. We'll be moving those anyway. Yeah. So the move is definitely going to happen. We are definitely going to be moving somewhere. Where, we are not sure yet, but definitely will be moving somewhere. And by the end of the month, so I am still getting myself mentally in in shape for that, mentally adjusted to that idea. It isn't what I would have chosen, but you know, God's plans are always greater than our own, so I'm going to trust that this plan too is greater than mine. Just holding on to that. Trying to work through my own doubts and insecurities about it. Yes, you don't have any action figures anymore. Yeah. I will definitely tell him. Of course, you know, we don't have anything definite yet. So, congratulations may be a bit premature in that area, but it is at least a step forward in the right direction. And for that, I am grateful. Sometimes it takes a crisis to pull things together. We are creatures of habit. We like our comfort zones. And even when we're uncomfortable in those comfort zones, we'll stick in there. God often has to use a crisis to boot us out of our comfort zone and get us moving in the right direction. I wish it weren't true, but it is. We human beings are such a funny lot. I will say this. Something that, you know, maybe I'm not the sharpest tool of the shed, and this probably should have occurred to me much, much sooner, but just yesterday it was like, you know, anything that I do apart from God is literally a waste of time, energy, effort, and resources. Why bother? I need to make sure that I'm getting with him first and doing things according to his will, his way, his timing, because anything else is just not going to bear fruit. And I don't have a lot of time on this earth left, so I'd really rather not waste it. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of the idea of wasting time. So, that's been my new resolution. Do it God's way. If they were cats, I'd admit to a problem. If they were coins, no one would say anything. That's true. if cats and coins, if guitars were coins, no one would complain about you having quote unquote too many of them. It's like, you know, as a person who does art, there's like a million different art supplies around this house, and people are like, that's a lot of art supplies, and I'm like, well, you can make a lot of different things with that. Do you ever really have too many? Do you have too much paper for a writer? No. Never have enough paper. Ain't never gonna don't give me no paper. You know what I'm gonna do. No artist can ever have too much of the supply, the primary supply they use to do their work. So it's nonsense to tell a guitarist you have too many guitars. It's nonsense to tell an artist you have too many art supplies. Oh. You don't know if you have too many until you're done with napkins. Yeah. You put a futon in the studio, your bed connects by a half bath with a shower, but you still find yourself sleeping in here between recording sessions. Ah, yes. That makes sense. I mean,
Yep, shall be done.
well, one of the things my stepfather is really good at, he has perfected, maybe that too, perfected the art of using vertical space to its fullest capacity. And I will say that's something that people should work on more. I admire that because you use a lot, if you use a lot of vertical space, you find you have far more room for things than you thought possible. I think that comes from his days in the Navy. Your bedroom studio is huge, but with the drum and kit and queen size bed, there's no way. Yeah. I could see how that would create space management issues. What would they, we have space management issues. Right now, I'm working on kind of giving the castle, now that we've got it blocked in, kind of want to smudge it around, give it a more textured feeling. Especially since this is supposed to be a semi-ruined castle, kind of like in the distance. To spend in my room, tells me maybe I'll put some climbing ivy when I've got the bricks and stuff. That would be cool. Put some moss and stuff in the forest floor. This one is probably, because of the level of detail we're adding to it, going to be a multi-session piece of art. Because it's got more complexities to it. But we'll see how it goes. My little granddaughter is leaving for Texas in the morning. She may have been leaving tonight, I don't know. But we're definitely headed to Texas for her birthday. They'll be gone until the 10th. On the one hand, I'm going to miss her. On the other hand, it's a nice chance to catch up with work that is hard to get done because she's always around. I'm trying to look on the bright side of things. Right now, so much of my life seems to be going haywire. But, you know, that's often the way it is when major change is afoot, and as I've told other people, destruction has to come before the construction can begin. Destruction phase is never fun, but it's productive.
Longer trip to see if this is gonna fit in the spot or not.
Now I ought to pick up that much, much lighter silver and toss that in there. Gonna record the installation of the cash checkered pick guard fitted for a humbucker in the neck position sometime this week. That's cool. Been working hard on that. Should be interesting. You already did an installation of the Allen wrench holder. Nice. Of all the tools that Photoshop offers, I will admit that one of my favorites is the smudge tool, which is what I'm using right here. Just provides that nice kind of oilish blending quality. And it does it with a way that's very little effort on my part, which I'm always a fan of less effort on my part. I will not, you know, I will say this. Lazy people in our society get a bad rap. But let me point out to you, lazy people invented the wheel. Lazy people invented the light bulb. I mean, it's not that hard to light a candle or put a lantern in. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. But no, they didn't want to do that work. They wanted to make sure that all they had to do was walk over and flip a switch. And he was willing to work like 50 years to figure out how to save himself 5 minutes worth of time. Think about that. But here's the truth. That 5 minutes of time adds up over time, over the amount of people. So if you got lots and lots of people and they're all saving 5 minutes of time, that's a lot of time you're saving. So here's to all the lazy people who find better ways to do things and save the rest of us lots and lots of time. Now, if only we'd invest our time in doing something really productive with it, that's another matter. I've been having technical support issues for forever, Malachi. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. I don't know if it's my computer, or if it's my internet, or what the heck it is. But pretty much every stream, I can count on it having issues. I'm just going to keep doing what I can do and wish that it gets better, hope that it gets better eventually. But thank you for letting me know about the issues. The only way I would know is for somebody to tell me. There's not a lot I can do about them, but thank you nevertheless for letting me know. I am hopeful that when we get to the new place, maybe they'll be figured out and fixed. And it's possible that it has to do with some memory issues that I'm having. Like, I don't think that would be causing it, but maybe it is. I'll have to look into it. Yeah, embracing the suck for sure. All we can do, brother. It's all we can do. It's either embrace the suck or do nothing at all, and I'd sure rather embrace the suck than do nothing. Make that even darker. There we go. That's looking better. I actually really like the way that looks right there. I don't know about you, but I'm liking it. Maybe. Not quite such a hot mess anymore. You enjoyed watching your passion for art be put into a painting? Well, thank you. It is I do enjoy sharing it with you. So I'm glad you enjoy watching it, because, you know, it's always better if you can enjoy it too. Something came up that requires a lot of focus. No worries. No worries. Thank you. Appreciate you coming by. Appreciate you being one of the first here. It was awesome chatting with you. As always, I enjoy the time. And I understand if you've got to have other things going on in your life. I do get it. I am not the only thing in y'all's life. As much as that, you know. It's actually turning out quite nicely. I'm glad I moved the trees around to give this a better visibility. I really didn't know where it was going, but I like it. It's coming together nicely. Very nice. Well, isn't that nice? I know, it's just you and me. That's okay. Just a little tete-a-tete, I suppose. How is life going for you, Malachi? Y'all got more snow to shovel? Well, there was quite a bit. It was good. The weekend was good. Got a car yesterday. You know, it's literally a beater with a heater, as has been said, but it functions and it's ours, and we got it for only $500, so I can't complain too much about that. And, so that's a huge improvement. We haven't had our own vehicle in quite some time. Since 2004. It's the last time we had our own vehicle. So it's nice. Yeah, but there was the HHS. I said 2024, Randy. You just keep trying to correct me. Go ahead. I don't know what the deal is with that, but okay. So at any rate, yeah, but that's how the weekend went. So it was not a bad weekend at all. Yeah, it is a pretty freaking cool, and it was, like I said, it was only $500. It's definitely not and it's not even in really bad shape. I mean, it needs repairs and stuff, but that's very not surprising given that it's a 2005 with over 250,000 miles on it. But, I am certainly not going to complain. was not something we were expecting to get at all. And then it just happened.
All right. Appreciate the young lady close.
Yep, it is ours. And tomorrow we go to the title office to register it and make it officially 100% our deal. It's a huge milestone because, like I said, we haven't had a car since 2024. Maybe, yeah, no, maybe even 2023. I don't remember exactly when we lost the car. It's been kind of an unfortunate series of events. I don't know. Do you remember those books, the series of unfortunate events? Perhaps you're not young enough to have encountered those. I mean, my son was growing up and I was reading those to him. So. Whoa. Lemony Snicket, a series of unfortunate events. But could have been describing the story of my life. The Ubi Meistermobile. Yes, the Embrace the Suckmobile. yeah, that's it's probably a pretty accurate way of describing it. It's gonna be but it's that's the whole thing. It's ours. We don't owe anything on it except to our son who helped us get it, and now we just gotta take care of it. Till it falls apart, till the wheels come off, as my husband says. Just don't call the car Betsy. If I start calling the car names, well. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's starting to look like something real there, instead of just sketchy outlines. Maypop tires. Oh, heaven help us. That's like the last thing we need. Popped tires. Yeah, so we've had a little bit of movement on the front of things going finally in our direction a little bit, but we'll see where it goes from here. We're a long way from out of the clear. But having a vehicle does open up possibilities that we couldn't get to otherwise, so we'll see. I'm going to turn off some of the trees so I can see the castle more clearly. Blah. Easy for me to say, right? Easy when you're working out. Okay, it's hard to see the forest for the trees. Yeah, it's easier to see what's going on with the castle when I don't have all the trees in the way. Really look at that. All right. We've got a perfectly good set of tires for a car sitting around the basement, but no one to get rid of them to. Well, if I thought the car could make it that far, I might see what we could do about taking those off your hands, because this is going to need some. But we are going to cheat. And because it's a digital painting, we can. What we're essentially going to do is borrow this part of the castle. No, stop. Don't. Edit, transform, flip. Flippity flippity flippity. If I got that correct. No, I did not get that correct. There we go. Now I did. It's cheating, and I know it, and I don't care. But that does give it a certain visual symmetry it would otherwise lack. You know what? It is okay if that tower leans. We were going to do one that was slightly... Yeah, let's leave that there. Okay. I'm talking it through out loud. We were doing a tower that's slightly falling apart, so it is okay if it certainly leans. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking much more like a castle, isn't it? Than it was when we started. Put it on the right layer. Get on the right layer. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Can't just be throwing things everywhere. Can't just be putting things piggledy-piggledy wherever you like. It doesn't make sense. Okay, let's turn off the under layer so I can see what I'm doing. Turn off all the extra layers. How about that? There we go. Yes, Rapunzel is definitely missing from the painting. She's she went for a horse ride. You know, this is in the Rapunzel after the tower stage. She escaped. She said, "Peace out. I'm done, bro. No more towers for me. I'm good. Thank you." So funny when Randy and I first really started dating. The first day he agreed to go out with me, I told him, I said, "Before we go out, there's a couple of important things you need to know." It's like, okay. So the first thing you need to know is that if you ever hit me, or the first thing you need to know is that I've agreed to go to the military ball with Clint Majors. I bought my dress. He bought the ticket. I'm going. That's that. And he said, okay. He said, the second thing you need to know, and this is really important, so listen closely. I said, okay. If you ever hit me, you better make it good, because it will be the last thing you ever do. My mother hit me, my stepfather hit me, and nobody else is hitting me. And he said, okay. I'm sure he thought I was crazy, but I meant it. If I'd have been more Catholic, I'd have told him, we Catholics, we marry till death do you part. But nobody ever said how that death had to come. And if you hurt me, you're going to find out. I think that's a fairly... I think that was a fair warning. I mean, I just want to give a guy an opportunity. Let him know what the score is ahead of time. It's only fair. I don't believe anybody should be hitting women either. I mean, okay, to be fair, there are instances where women should be more cautious with how they use force, because a woman can be deadly. You know, her blows can be just as deadly as a man's if she knows what she's doing and if she's using the right instruments. So I don't think it's fair to tell men you should never hit a woman. But I will say this about the situation. Every man must be educated as to the fact that he is eminently stronger than she is. Whether she likes to admit that or not is irrelevant. He is eminently stronger than she is. All it takes is one blow from him and he can snap her neck, cause her to die, and then he's stuck with murder for the rest of his life. So before he decides to hit a woman, he should know what he's getting himself into. He should know the risks he's taking. think that should have been told to a lot more men. Quite frankly, I think a lot more women should be trained to be more careful with their words. Do a lot of damage with those things. A lot of women feel perfectly free to shoot their mouth off with no consequences. Because they're a woman. A man wouldn't have gotten away with it. I think both genders need to be better trained. To be more thoughtful of one another. It's very easy to lose control of your temper. And as a woman, it's very easy to be guilty of egging someone on. Not that a man isn't in control of himself. He should be at all times, but I will say this. If you're shooting your mouth off, there are consequences for such things. You should be prepared to pay the consequences. Fair warning, our room is figured as much, given how much you were shuffling things around.
But I've got to start keeping screen cover, so I know where to film.
Mm-hmm. Goodness, I'm not even paying attention to the time. It is 10 minutes till Ubi's stream, and I am 3 minutes over where I normally allot myself. So, I am going to call it a stream for tonight. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for putting up with the terrible internet and the buffering. Apologize for that. We'll see if we can't fix that problem coming up next week. If you've got anything you want to pop in the chat real quick before we go, let people know what you got coming up, what you've got that you want them to watch. And otherwise, I will be seeing y'all in Ubi's stream. Thank you for watching and have a great night.